In Minecraft, like it or not, the primary direction is east. East is like north in the real world. So if you're facing east, then you know, in Minecraft, then you know that south is on your right, west is behind you, and north is on your left. But which way in Minecraft is east? Is it that way or that way or that way? And does it matter? Well, when moving around in Minecraft or building something, you need a mental map of which way is east in order to specify the coordinates. So you actually can usually do these things without knowing which way is east, but it helps me to think about it if I know. So one way of figuring out which way is east is to plant a sunflower. Okay, in Minecraft, sunflowers always face east. Whoops, this sunflower is facing me, which means I am looking west. So if I get behind the sunflower and carefully line myself up so that I am right behind it, facing it, then I am indeed facing east. Well, that's nice, but I don't want all of my worlds with sunflowers all over the place just because I need a crutch to think about which way is east. So I have built myself a little pointer that I can embed in the ground in order to find east. So I'm going to run it here. And there is my pointer. Generally, I put a gold block on the ground just exactly under my feet because I want to know where the origin is in order to point east from the origin. The blue block is pointing from the gold block is pointing east. So that way is east. Well, how do I know that's right? Well, I could back up a bit here and plant a sunflower. Whoops. Okay, better back up a little more. And sure enough, my sunflower is facing east. My blue block is facing east. Now, by embedding the pointer in the ground, as I have done here, then I could, for example, build a fence right on top of it. And I will do this in a blog in just maybe this afternoon. Okay, let's take a look at this code. Now this code is what I would call a utility, meaning that I copy this code from one program to another and I use it again and again and again. Every programmer has their bag of utilities, and this is one of mine. So I implement it as a function so that it's easy to copy from one place to another. Okay, let's take a look at this code. Well, first of all, this function has a really long name. The name is, I try to make the names descriptive, and sometimes that means they're really long. This one is called Make East Pointer from Origin. Okay. The first thing I do in my programs usually is to say that the program is running, just to be sure it is. And we've talked before about maybe it might not be running. Now, the origin is where you want to think of as the place from which you want to point east. Might be where the player is standing, and usually it's where the player was standing at the beginning of the game. So I allow for the fact that origin might be set before the function is called. In fact, maybe a long time before the function is called. So there's a global variable called origin. And I test that to see if it's null. And yes, I haven't found a null in the block version of MakeCode, but there is one in JavaScript, which we won't go into now. So I had to go into JavaScript to actually enter this null. And if origin is null, that means it was not set before this function was called. So now I want to set it. Well, I want to set it on the ground exactly where the player is. But the player may not be on the ground. What that means is then I want to set the x coordinate to the same as the player world position, x. I want the z coordinate to be the same as the player world position, z. But I want the y coordinate to be 4. Okay, 4? Why is it 4? Well, 4y, or vertical, is exactly where the player's feet are. Now, origin, I want to be where the player is standing. I don't want it to be under where the player is standing. So the player at origin is at vertical position 4 in a flat world. Now, origin is set, so I print it by saying it to the command window. So to just be sure that we like where origin is set. Now we place our yellow block at origin plus, by saying world, we're just adding a number. So plus, nothing to the x, nothing to the y, but -1 on the vertical. Well, that means it's under the feet or level with the ground. We place the blue block at the origin, again, under the feet, so y is -1. We want it to be the same north-south coordinate, but we want it to be 1 positive to the east. So that means the blue block will be facing east. Okay, now, if we have a run chat command, which all it does is call the function. Okay, let's go back and run this wonderful little program one more time. We'll move over a bit. Whoops. There it is. Okay, and now look at, whoops. Now we're looking east. Now let's look at the printouts here. The coordinates are 726, 4, and -91. If we look at the coordinates printed out, they are exactly the same. That's because this pointer was put exactly where the player is standing. So they are the same as what was printed out. Okay, that is point north.